Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Nikhil Sheoran and today we have Daksh bhaiya on our channel. Hi Daksh bhaiya. So Daksh bhaiya is a senior from my own college and he's building his own startup Cryptocase. So Daksh bhaiya, would you like to tell us more about what you are doing at Cryptocase?
Hi everyone, I'm Daksh Goel and we're building Cryptocase. Our product simply called is like small case but for cryptocurrencies, and what we're trying to build is very simple. We're trying to build investing products for the next 100 million Indian retail investors, right? The problem we're trying to solve is that a lot of Indian retail investors have lost money by investing in crypto through WazirX or CoinSwitch Kuber or such platforms, right? What we do is we both provide advisory to these retail investors, and we provide a platform so that they can easily invest in cryptocurrencies.
That's great bhaiya. And can you tell us a little bit about your background? So where do you come from?
Basically, I was born and brought up in Dehradun, which is a town in Uttarakhand, and in my 11th, 12th class, I was like all about ki college पे engineering करेंगे and stuff like that, and that's why I joined BITS, right? I couldn't get into IITs. And that's when I joined BITS, and after joining BITS, I started having this startup ka keeda that like I'm gonna build something of my own and stuff like that. So here we are after a couple of years and a lot of sleepless nights.
So you talked about the startup ka keeda that you have within you. So would you like to elaborate a little more on that, and how's your startup journey been so far?
Alright, so basically I've been interested into startups just as soon as I entered into college. I think before I entered college, as soon as I completed school, right? So there was this like 3-4 months when I had to figure out what I like, what are my hobbies and stuff like that, right? And I started reading out stuff on Twitter, right? And I came across Naval, I came across all these Indian thought leaders, YouTubers, people who've been like really active in the ecosystem. And like that's when I explored that this is a very interesting career opportunity, and like you can really build out something interesting, something that people want, right?
Just for context, what's this year that we are talking about? It's 2020, I guess, right?
Yeah, so 2020 was the year when I joined college, right? So yeah, it's like two years back. It looks a lot from now, right? So yeah, it was also, I think lockdown was the same year, so we were all in homes and stuff like that, right? So I think that's where I came across it, and then I joined BITS. I came across Center for Entrepreneurial Learning, which is like the e-cell of BITS Goa. I came across Harish. I came across all these other BITSian founders, right? So like I saw what they were building, and like that gave me hope, that gave me inspiration, that gave me ideas, and that's when I tried to find what I can build, try to find ideas, right?
Yeah, so how's your journey been going so far? Has it been smooth, or has there been a lot of obstacles in your journey, and how has BITS helped you in that startup journey?
Basically the journey was like ups and downs and stuff like that, right? So it's like one day you're very hopeless ki you're not gonna get anything, and the second day like a miracle happens and you get one paid user out of nowhere. Right? So yeah, that's the journey is full of ups and downs, and every time you think ki it doesn't happen like that, and something else happens, right? So it's very interesting in that way, but on the other hand, I think BITS has helped me a lot. I think zero attendance policy, the whole ecosystem, stuff like that has helped a lot. Plus, I think as compared to IITs have a lot more coding culture and a lot more, tech first kind of a culture. Here in BITS, we have a lot more culture around building stuff, right? So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting for sure. So can you tell us a little bit more about your company? So have you raised any funding or something? And if yes, then what's your valuation?
Yeah, so basically, I can't reveal those numbers right now, but yes, we've started raising our first round, our pre-seed round, and I hope we, complete the round by, let's say, 6 months or 1 year. When we are sure about our product, we've got some good early traction and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that's the plan for now. And we've started raising funds. We've raised some funds from a pretty well-known VC.
So you said that you are planning to raise funding from a well-known VC, right? So how do you network and how do you get to these VCs in the first place? Can you tell a little bit about that to our audience as well?
So I think there are two main ways which you can use to connect, and network with VCs or founders and other people, right? So one is pretty simple, just cold outreach to them, right? So LinkedIn ke through, Twitter ke through, and emails ke through, you can find an email of a person and just mail him something that's both helpful to him and you have a ask at the end. So you can just write ki here's what we are building, here's what we think about the market, stuff like that, and a small ask ki here's what we want help with, right? That could be a cold email. Then you can reach out to them on Twitter or on LinkedIn and ask questions, whatever you have, some small questions, or if they've posted anything, just write beneath that post whatever you think, right? So that's another thing, and just congratulate them whenever they have their round or whatever, right? The second way you can do it is through warm introductions, right? So I think you can just ask me out if I know a VC who can, when you have a startup, when you have an idea, when you want to pitch something, you can just come to me or just come to someone else who's involved in the market and ask them about which VC could you go to, which is a VC which can fund a crypto startup or stuff like that, right? Yeah, so I think those are the two ways that you can network with VCs.
Okay, so does the first method, the cold outreach method, does that really work? Because why would a VC or an entrepreneur respond to a guy who he does not know? Why does he feel the need to spend his attention on that guy? What do you feel about this?
Yeah, so basically, if you think your mail or your LinkedIn outreach is helpful to him, that's when he would, reply. That's when he would get back to you, right? He shouldn't be a public figure. Ankur Warikoo को ऐसे बहुत सारे cold emails आते हैं because he's so well known. But an average VC could give you much more money as compared to Ankur Warikoo to build your startup, right? So you have to find good people in the network, not all these glamorous people, right? So find people who can provide value to you and who you can provide value to.
Not the sharks on the shark.
Yeah, exactly. If you try to find only people that are rich and famous, it won't work out, right?
Yeah. So thank you, Bhaiya. How big is your team?
Alright, so our team is 5-6 people right now. So basically, we're 2 co-founders, we're 2 devs, and 2 people in non-tech, which is marketing, growth, operations, stuff like that, right? So we're 6 people, and there's Pratham, who's the video editor, who's a freelancer, right? So I think you had a podcast with him and you know him, right? So we're 7 people, a couple of people here and there. We just had a designer last month. We worked with him for some time. We completed some projects, and now we're not working with him. So a couple of people here and there, but this is the one.
Would you hire me?
Yeah, as soon as we have more, video editing or graphic design projects, we can, obviously.
So what's your role and your day-to-day tasks that you have to complete?
So the work that I do mostly is strategy, product, and operations, design, growth, all this stuff. Yeah, everything except making the app work is my responsibility, right? So Sheesh codes out the app, Sheesh and Shivam, and another backend developer codes out the backend of the app of the product, right? But everything except that, how it would work, what features, where do we get our users from, everything related to the business side, So there's a lot of noise on the business side, whatever the CA is saying, whatever the the company should do in the long run, pitch someone, talk to people, stuff like that, right? And it's like, it's not necessary work, but you have to got to do it at the end of the day, right? Sign documents, like, make documents, right? All that stuff. And then one thing that I like doing is design, product design. So basically design out the mobile app and the website, and like that's very fun. I find it very fun and it's very interesting to do.
Do you have a CA and like a legal team to take care of all the?
Yeah, so we've got a CA who did the documentation for our company and like legalized the whole company incorporation process, right? And then we've got a CS, we've got no one in the legal team as such. There's no legal team, but we've talked to a lot of these lawyers, and like we have what these lawyers say. We figured it out as soon as we scale.
Okay, so that's amazing. And who takes care of the hiring part? Like, are you involved in the hiring process?
Yeah, so basically as I've told you, we're a very small team, and like the whole hiring process is like very important and interesting part of it, right? And how the hiring process kind of works is that like as soon as we've got something documented on what we have to do and how we have to do it, like we just find someone from LinkedIn or through Qvit, which is like Internshala but better. Qvit, all these platforms to find someone who can do that task, or we just hire through our college network or referrals, right? College is a very nice way to hire someone.
So how's your experience with hiring been so far? Like, do you enjoy hiring as a process, or do you feel that it's too hectic and it takes a lot of time to figure out that one right candidate for the job?
So like I've hired like 3 to 4 people, but like I think it's like really interesting work. Like you get to meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of developers or marketers, whatever the role you're hiring for, and it's difficult to evaluate people because you don't really know how good they are, right? So it's difficult to question them and evaluate them and stuff like that, but it's fun at the end of the day. And I'm also figuring out how to do better hiring, right?
So now we come to the fun part of our podcast. This will be a rapid fire round, and I'll ask you some questions which you'll only have to answer yes or no, or they will be like a single choice question. You'll have to select one of the either. No explanation required, nothing. You'll just have to answer it immediately. Okay? So let's start. Android or iOS?
iOS.
What's the best dish you've ever had? Like, except for घर का खाना, anywhere.
FK की fried Maggi.
Okay, अब तो मुझे ट्राई करनी पड़ेगी. काफी लोग कहते हैं बहुत अच्छी है. Angel or venture?
Venture.
Small team or large team?
Depends on the product, but small.
If given a chance, would you like to replace your co-founder with someone else?
With Steve Jobs.
With someone who's alive and in your reach?
No, I won't change my co-founder.
Would you like to go back in time and change any part of your journey?
Probably I would make a revenue generating startup first. Like try building something that's generating some revenue, like social media marketing agency or revenue generating SaaS startup sort of. And then try to build something productized or scale something. So SaaS means software as a service.
Would you prefer debt or giving out your equity?
Giving out equity, obviously. Like it's easier and faster and it works better.
Do you enjoy working out of your small hostel room?
Yeah, it's fun. Matlab, like everything has its own fun, and like hostel rooms also do have.
So do you have any advice for aspiring entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so like basically one thing I'd like to say is like always believe in what you're building, and always strive to build better. I think me and my co-founder fight a lot on me doing imperfect work or him doing really slow work, but like at the end of the day I think it always matters is that we get the work done, right? And I think that's the most important thing and the most essential thing, and like that's what matters, right? So for anyone who's trying to build something, believe in what you're trying to build, talk to less people and build more, like in the initial part of your career. if you're like 45 or 50, you can just, your career would be like just talking to people, making deals, doing whatever, right? But right now, you can only get a leveraged advantage if you build more stuff.
Where do you find co-founders?
So basically, I think Sheesh was my second friend from college, right? So I think you can find good co-founders everywhere, but like you have to keep looking for them. Right? Just try to find someone who has a complementing, skill set, and I think just try to see that one thing that the product or that idea requires 100%, right? And like if you don't know that one thing, just make sure the other person does, right? Basically, in our case, I don't know Flutter Dev or React Native or any mobile application, development, right? So that's where Sheesh comes into the picture, and he's like pretty awesome at it, and he did everything super fast and pretty well, right? And I think that's where co-founders are very necessary.
Do you think it's a good idea to start a company with your friends? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, like I think personally it's a good idea to start a company with someone, who you roam around with and who you live with all your day, right? And like if it doesn't work out, you can always just close the company and like build out something better or something different, right?
So thank you very much, bhaiya, for being on the podcast. It was a nice time hosting you, and would love to meet you again on the podcast, probably when you raise your first $1 million or something. But yeah, that's it for today. So bye guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.